Hi, it's Kai and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing an everyday fall makeup look. This is kind of along the lines of what my makeup looks like most days. If you're over on other platforms, you can see that like I do my makeup like this a lot. So it's using some of the products that I use every day, though I did switch some things up just because I was in the mood to, and you know, we had to go along that journey to fixing some of those things as well. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And let's just hop right into it. Stop the chatter and get into the makeup. So I have already done all of my priming. For face, I'm using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, which we all know is in my Project Pan. This is the progress if you were not on the last video, which was my Project Pan progress. And then I also have this Milani eyeshadow primer, which is amazing. Been using it for years. It lasts for literally forever. And then for brows, I have pretty thick brows all on their own, so I don't really do a lot with them. I just use the NYX the brow glue. Yeah, this is what I've been using for my brows for years. It gives them really nice hold without making them crunchy. So for eyeshadow itself, admittedly I have just been using this NYX Nude matte shadow. A lot of the things that I use are just kind of my Project Pan products, and I combine it with other things to kind of get a look that I want. So this is just like a warm brown nude shadow. It is, you know, basically my skin color but a little warmer, and I put that all over the lid and blend it up into the crease. And honestly, sometimes I will even leave it with just this shade because I feel like it is a really good one shade my eyelids but better type of color, especially really sheared out. Okie dokie, and that's done. And like I said, I could just leave it like this. It's a really nice one shadow type of look, but we all know I'm a little bit extra than that, especially for every day. Like I would say something like this would be my everyday spring or summer or like no makeup look. But again, I'm extra on the day today, so I am going to use, this is one of my favorite single eyeshadows, and I will switch out which single shadow that I use. I like a lot of the Phytosurgence ones as well, but I like that this has the color. This is the Arc Beauty Smoke Reflect in the shade Temper, which is Samantha Ravindal's brand. She was one of the OG makeup artist YouTubers, beauty YouTubers that I watched. I really loved her videos, and I love her makeup line as well. I really like the Smoke Reflex. I have 2 of them currently, and the only reason I don't have more is because I'm like, girl, you don't need to. Hello. Focus on me, please. The only reason I don't have more is because I don't know why it wants to focus on this right here. Anyway, okay, I zoomed out a bit. I apologize. Again, I'm just using the camera that I have. If you want me to have a better camera, then keep watching so that I can actually make money from my videos and, you know, put myself out there. But anyway, I really like this. It is like a kind of rose gold shade, and depending on how I want to use it, sometimes I'll just go in with my hand, but you guys know I really don't like using my fingers in makeup. I have OCD, so it is just like a sensory nightmare. I prefer brushes. This one is a Sephora Pro Shadow 15 brush, and I feel like it is really like small and dense, so it packs the shadow on. Let me see if I can zoom back in and my camera not hate me for that. Maybe right here can work. So again, I just put that all over my lids, and this one admittedly does give a little bit more of like a silvery, I would say, shift to my makeup. It's not really like super cool toned, but that's kind of why I like to use a warmer eyeshadow underneath this one, so that I really can get a little bit more of like a true rose gold on my skin versus it like it's much cooler than even this is currently if I don't have a warm tone shade underneath it or accompanying it. And then of course, to blend things out, you want to go back in with your blending brush. You don't have to add any additional product, but sometimes you need it. I like to just kind of blend it out and then assess if I want things darker or to add other shades or whether I'm just kind of cool with it where it is. Okay, and more often than not, this is where I will stop, like just a little bit of shimmer on the lid. But on the days that I am especially feeling extra, or where I'm just like, oh, I want to be able to do like my makeup day to night transition or something like that, there is also, which is another thing that I love about this, the little what do you call it, like topper glitter. I'll put it over here so that it focuses, but there's this little topper glitter on this as well, and it's really pretty. So let me show you how it absolutely transforms. This I will often use with my finger, but you can use it with a brush if you want. But even just like, this is how much I'm picking up on my finger. Not a lot at all. And you see how it just adds like a little bit of amp. Like, this is pretty, don't get me wrong, but this is like, it reminds me of the jazz hands scene in Bring It On. Like, these aren't jazz hands, these are jazz hands, and these are gold. If you didn't know, I watched that movie probably way too much as a kid. Me and one of my friends over on Instagram were actually talking about how, like, I got in trouble because National Mean Girls Day passed by. Mean Girls, that is where I learned the word slut. I remember using it in my diary, and because, like, love my parents forever, but unfortunately they did not have very good boundaries and practice very good boundaries, and so they would like read probably not just my diary, but like diaries, text messages, stuff like that. So yes, is that a big thing or a big focus of my therapy, like not feeling like I have a safe space to say or think things even? 100%. But outside of the trauma attached to that, like, I got in trouble because I used the word slut in my diary, and I had a friend who had a very similar experience. Oh, and this is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Maple. As you see, my summer tan is quickly going away. So this is actually a little bit deeper than what I would like for myself, and I actually think I might grab another concealer. Okay, I have this Haley's Beauty one that I feel is a little bit light for my skin tone a lot of the time, so I'm just going to mix a hair of that in with the concealer just to brighten it up a little bit. Probably needed more, or like to do that from the start, but we live and we learn. But as I was saying, one of my friends on Instagram, she was talking about how she learned the word whore from Bring It On, and that she had a similar thing happen, like where she used it or like put it in her diary or something like that, and she got in trouble, and she watched it at a friend's house, and then she wasn't allowed to go see that friend anymore. So I was just like, girl, we need to have a sleepover so that we can talk about all of our trauma of growing up in a fundamentalist Christian household. But like I said, that's for other times, not for our makeup video. Unless you guys want me to do makeup videos and talk more about my life lore, I talk about it a little bit here and there. Honestly, I feel like I talk more about my behind the scenes and life lore on my Substack, which is, you know, semi-new. You're not missing anything if you haven't, you know, been on it yet. But yeah, that is linked in the description box where all of the stuff goes. And then after placing with a concealer brush, I go in with my beauty sponge. It's a little bit damp because I just washed it, but a lot of the time I don't use a damp beauty sponge. I kind of prefer a dry one. And then wear powder, Kosas Cloud Set from my project pan. This is the shade Pillowy, which helps with the fact that my concealer is a little bit deep, because this shade is, you know, like a light, I think it's their like tan shade or like light tan or something like that. And then I use this Flawless concealer brush from e.l.f. to really target underneath my eyes, because I do have kind of, I don't know if I'd call them deep set, but like, you know, they go back in the socket a little bit more, and then I have like this, you know, like underneath there. I don't really know what it's called. I really like the way that it looks, but sometimes concealer can get like gunked up in there or it look really dry. So this helps deposit, like just pick up and deposit just the amount of concealer that I need for the under eye area without it being overboard. And then before I do my foundation, I'm going to go ahead and do liner. This is the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen, and I am going to do winged liner, but I wanted it to be a little bit softer. When I want to do just like a winged liner, what I will use is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. This is the shade Matte Black. So that's just been the liner that I've been using, but a lot of the time I will just use a shadow, and this is another Sephora Pro Liner 22 brush. But as I was saying, a lot of the time I will use just a pencil liner for my winged liner, because I feel like it softens it up, makes it a little bit less harsh, which is literally the definition of softening something up. So I will stop talking and focus on my liner, since I'm just going to babble endlessly and say nothing of real importance, because I'm really just concentrating on doing my liner. And of course you can smudge it out. When I do smudge it out, I'll use something like this. This is from the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette, like just one of the eyeshadow brushes that came in a palette. So I'll use something like this to smudge it out, or even, where is that brush? The e.l.f. smudge brush. This is another one that I really like for softening it up, but I think I am okay with it being like just light black sharp liner, you know, kind of soft but not super, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, now I will go in with foundation. This is, again, Project Pan. This is where I'm at, you guys. That's so satisfying. But yeah, I just put this all over the face. I think my nose ring, I don't know what it is, but I feel like my nose ring is what is throwing my camera off, and it's kind of just like, it is the year of our Lord 2024. Why is a nose ring like attracting the autofocus of the camera? And then there's a few different foundation brushes I use. Right now I'm using this flat top one from Wet n Wild, and then I like to use this e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray, because admittedly it's a little bit too dewy once my makeup is finished for my personal taste. So I like putting it on to blend out the foundation and give my skin, you know, a kind of healthy glow before going in with, you know, more powder products. You guys know the deal. No one gave me any requests, so the next blank session we're gonna be singing. I personally don't put makeup on my head. I feel like I've done a base routine before, but I can definitely do another one, because again, if I don't even remember when I did it, then, you know. Back in the Kosas powder, this is just the Midas Cosmetics bronze brush, but it's really nice for powder because it's so big and fluffy. And I feel like for my face, because I feel like my face and head are kind of small, admittedly, so like super, like if I use this as a bronzer brush, we're covering half my, you know, unless I like really angle it. But it's like I have other angled bronzer brushes that I could use. So I also, because I have a shiny forehead, put some up on the forehead, even though I don't really put foundation on my forehead per se. Okay, and you see how I still have like a nice healthy glow on the skin, you know, after powder. But if I were to go back on top of, which sometimes I have, sometimes I do, because I do want to just finish my products up, but so if I were to go back on top and spray with this e.l.f. spray, I would go back to looking just dewy. And a lot of the time when I spray this on top of my makeup, I end up going back in with another layer of powder, which is obviously like not necessarily what I want to do. The Kosas powder is light enough that I can get away with like just really doing multiple, you know, kind of passes on my face without it looking too cakey or anything, but it's still just like an extra step, and if there's anything you must know about me, the ADHD cannot handle an extra step. And then I'm just going back under here, making sure that the powder is pressed in these, you know, areas of the face that can kind of show when a powder isn't completely blended or isn't pressed into the skin. And then sometimes I'll do lower lash liner. I don't really feel like doing that today personally, so I don't think I'm gonna do any lower lash liner. I think it's fine like this, and I will usually still do lower lash mascara, because I feel like if I just had all of the shadow up top and nothing up bottom, that it can be a little bit top heavy. But I also feel like this is a look where I can kind of get away with it being, my clothes are done, with it being top heavy. So actually I'm gonna wait until I do the rest of my makeup to decide whether today is a day that I want to do more, you know, like lower lash liner. Bronzer, still this Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and then this Eco Tools brush. This is what I meant by like I have more angled brushes even if they're fluffy. The name has rubbed off because I've had it for so long. I don't know if it's like showing up. One day we're gonna have a camera that does not vex me. Oh, I leave quite an impression. 5 feet to be exact. I'm 5'2" actually. I'm wondering how something. I almost how you have a little bit of a hard time trying to explain what I do with bronzer. I just kind of put it like not completely in the like groove, I guess, and I keep it pretty like back on my cheeks. I don't bring it too far to the center of my face, because again, I've said before, I have pretty high cheekbones, and like bringing things too much forward to the face like drags my face shape down. So I do keep it like pretty high up, and I try to put it like almost on the cheekbone. Sometimes I go a little bit crazy, but it's fine. Most people aren't really gonna notice like those small little things that are wrong with your makeup, or when you accidentally put your bronzer a little bit lower than you wanted to, or like used a blush that wasn't the exact tone you wanted. I feel like there's a lot more of that going on in our head in like making us feel like a certain, you know, makeup look or even outfit, whatever it is, isn't working or isn't flattering or X, Y, and Z. And more than anything, it's just like your mindset and confidence. And then I also put some on my nose. I like alternate between like actually trying to like give a little bit of shape of my nose, and then being like, oh, I just want my foundation like it not to look like I have no foundation, or like you know what I'm saying, like this versus what it looked like before I put bronzer on my nose. I don't know, it just brings everything together. Some things don't need explaining. Some things you can do with your makeup just because it makes you feel good. For blush, what do I want to do for blush today? I kind of feel like doing a Phytosurgeon's blush, but admittedly a lot of the time I have been using this LYS Beauty. This is their Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush in the shade. Actually, I think I'm going to use this today because I am going out and I'll have a mask on, and this is one of my blushes that really works well underneath a mask. Like it doesn't move around and, you know, just not look good and all that stuff. So this is another Wet n Wild brush, and I also have a code until October 15th for, I believe it's 20% off of the LYS website. So if you're interested in this product or any of their other products, then you can use that, and I would very much so appreciate it if you used that code. Not only does it help me out a lot, but I also know it feels good to save money, so it makes me feel good to help you guys save money. Yeah, I like in this look, I feel like because it's kind of silvery, kind of warm, like the neutral tone is probably the best way to describe it, but there's something about it that isn't quite a neutral tone look to me, but this blush really complements it. I like putting blush all over my nose, and then even kind of underneath my eyes a little bit and just through the middle of my face. I'm definitely one of those people who, what is it on TikTok, might have blush blindness, but I don't believe in too much blush. Like I feel like people who even do like this super blush, like almost like a little porcelain doll look, I think that is so cute, and I just honestly need to build myself up. I feel like I have some looks where I've gone that far with my blush, but I'm definitely, I guess, getting back into the creativity of makeup, you know what I'm saying? Like makeup is very functional in that it makes me feel my best, but also in it making me feel my best, a lot of the time I feel like, you know, it's a lot more mental. I could talk about it all day, but I feel like we've already been here a while. So Colourpop Super Shock Cheek and drop of a hat. Gonna use this Real Techniques, what is this, the contour brush, which is literally perfect for highlight, especially cream highlight. I like to kind of go on top of my blush. I more so use highlight as a blush topper because I do put my blush so high up. I like put it on top of my cheekbones and even again higher, almost underneath my eye, like touching my eyeshadow sometimes. I like to put this on top because it adds a little bit of glow and focus to specific parts of the face without it being like, oh, my whole face. What are we doing, beloved? Put some on my upper lip and on my chin because I like it there. And then for faux freckles today, I'm going to use the freckle, what is this called? The Pseudo Labs. It was like on the tip of my tongue, but the Pseudo Labs Freckles. This is shade 2, and I wear this a lot more when I don't have like colorful, you know, clothing on, because it can get a little bit crazy. Ooh. Let's just smudge that out. It can get a little bit crazy and kind of like get on, you know, your hands and your clothes if you're not super careful, and I like to go like crazy. I usually don't do a lot of freckles like on my forehead and stuff, but I'm just feeling like the all over freckle look today. Okay, setting spray. Now this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. My older sister doesn't like this one, so she gave it to me. To me, it works a lot like the Milani one that I like, so I use it. And she got the big daddy size, so I'm good on setting spray for a while. So this one underneath slash when I'm blending out makeup, this one on top, so that, you know, it will once it dries. Right now it looks really wet and glazed donut, but when it dries down, it'll definitely look more just kind of like skin like, and it melds everything in. And then mascara, I've still been using the Honest Beauty one because it is still going, and I really like this mascara as the primer on one side. And see, today in particular, I feel like just having a little bit of lower lash mascara like completes the look without going like too smoky, too deep, too sultry and whatever. So yeah, I like this. Now for lips, what do I want to wear for lips? More often than not, just to finish in my project pan, I've been using this Buxom lip balm, but I don't really feel like using that today if I'm being completely honest. Let's just start with my trusty dusty, what is it? Yeah, I don't know, trusty old, it's the NYX lip liner Amazing. You're under my eyes closed, man, missing my body's where they are. It literally just looks like my like outer lip line color, so it's the perfect shade for me to line my lips with when I want like a not very lined like lip look. I don't know why the lip bar gloss in Miss Independent is calling to me, but it kind of is. So let's try it out for today and see. Now I'm gone, but you're still laying next to me, 1 degree of separation. It's pretty. I feel like it's a little bit too like straight up nude. I need a little bit of pink, or like a little bit more pink, so let me assess. Okie dokie, so I have this Glow Reviver lip oil in the shade Jam Session, and I feel like this, since it's a little bit of like a deeper color, will give me enough of the pink that I'm looking for. Yeah, it's definitely adding a very pink shift. I would probably just go with this particular look in with this on its own, and with something a little bit more, again, straight up neutral, go in with Miss Independent on its own. But this is where the makeup look is landing today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are staying safe or healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.